Elixir fragrances, they are super expensive, and that sucks. But in my opinion, these here are some of the best ones on the market right now, and I think these are worth the money. Now, if you can get these below retail price, that is the no-brainer way to do it. And for the most part at this point, pretty much all of these have hit discounters, and you can find yourself saving, anywhere from $30, $40, $50, $60 or more off a retail price by getting them at discounters. If they're not in stock right now, they will pop up again at some point if you are a bit patient. And I mean, that's a good chunk of money that you can save if you go that direction. So definitely worth the money at discount pricing. And honestly, I paid retail for a lot of these and I don't really regret it too much either. So they do really hold their own. Now, again, just to make it clear, these are not all of the Elixir releases right now. There are some out there right now that are not in here because I think these are better. And there are some that haven't even been released yet, but will be soon because this is a new trend that is just starting up. So if you want to find out what the best Elixir fragrances are on the market that I think are worth spending your money on, make sure you stick around. And we'll get things kicked off with what I believe to be the first Elixir fragrance ever. Well, I don't believe it, it is. But also, I think this is probably the first one that everybody thinks about. Like when you think of an Elixir fragrance, you just think of Dior Sauvage Elixir. At least I do. Because they started it and because it was such a hit immediately. Like this one took no time at all to just take off and really get popular. And a lot of that is because, well, it's a Dior Sauvage derivative. And anytime you tie something to that name, it's going to have a head start. What's so interesting about this one is the fact that it smells nothing like Sauvage at all. It doesn't even smell really anything like Sauvage Parfum, which came directly before this. So it's kind of like they just worked their way down the line, starting off with the Eau de Toilette and getting progressively more rich and strong until you get to the Elixir. But even jumping from the Parfum to the Elixir, there's hardly any comparison at all. This one is all about the sandalwood and all of the warm spices, some nutmeg, licorice, things like that. This is definitely not the new trendy young guy smell here. This one's a bit more of a classic gentleman scent, which is why so many people like it. If you hated Sauvage before, this might be something you would really like, as long as you can kind of get yourself away from the fact that it is a Sauvage because maybe you hate it so much. It really smells nothing like it. So this might be something to look into. It's expensive. Like I said, it retails for, I don't know, what is it, $180? And then they have a 100 ml that retails for like upwards of 200 plus. But on discounters, this one's popping up at around 140 to 150. So decent savings there, but it still is expensive. To me, the performance, the quality, the uniqueness itself makes this worth it. Next up, we have Jean Paul Gaultier Le Male Elixir. So everything about this one is premium. You can tell that they were proud of this because for the first time in a pretty long time, we got like an upgraded bottle here. A lot of the other ones follow the same blueprint and they just have a different design on them. They all have the same little pull tab and just nothing too crazy going on with the bottle. This one, you get a bottle kind of redesign. You've got some texture going on here. I don't know if you can see, like this is clear in here. You can see the level of the liquid itself. The gold accenting is really cool, and you get a larger little loop here on your pull tab, which doesn't really mean much of anything, but you can tell that they went the extra mile with this one. So this is an Elixir. It is a true parfum, whereas Le Male Le Parfum was an eau de parfum intense. So what does this one have that the others don't? Well, it's utilizing honey and tobacco to a pretty heavy extent here. And that's nothing new. That's been done in a variety of designer and niche fragrances, but that's new for the Le Male lineup. And the way I describe this one is it's kind of like a mixture between the original a little bit. You get some Le Male Le Parfum in here, and then you get your own twist with the tobacco and the honey. It's yet another one that gets a little bit more mature, a little bit more refined, a little bit more robust. It smells phenomenal. And if you're someone who kind of was a bit bored by Ultra Male and the original at this point, maybe you didn't even like Le Male Le Parfum all that much, this might be something that you would be interested in as well. Because no, this doesn't smell like Xerjoff Naxos or pick any other tobacco honey scent out there. It doesn't smell like any of those, but it does kind of start to nudge it over into that category, which immediately just gives it a bit more of a classy and refined smell. So it's nowhere near as playful as Ultra Male and the original and things like that. And it's a little bit more classy and a little bit more rich than Le Male Parfum, which is a really good release too, by the way. But this Elixir is amazing. And it's been on discounters for a long time now, $125, $130. It's really not all that bad, and it's not a whole lot more than Ultra Male and Le Male Parfum. Next up, we have Gucci Guilty Elixir. So this one is pricey, just like all of these others, but it's really up there. I mean, even Gucci Guilty Parfum was expensive on its own, and they took it up another step with this one, following a very similar, if not an exact pricing structure to Sauvage Elixir, 60 ml bottle, and I think it's 180-ish here, somewhere around in there. So very, very close to what Sauvage Elixir is doing. And for a Gucci Guilty release, that's a tough pillow to swallow. A tough pillow to swallow. That's, probably more the case here, because that just makes you want to run, $180 for a Gucci Guilty scent, but it's really good. Don't just take my word for it, guys. Go out there and give this one a try. If you can find it in a department store near you, or purchase a sample online, or even just blind buy it. This is so much better than I thought it was going to be. I did not have high hopes for this one, but it exceeded my expectations extraordinarily well. What does this smell like, and why do I like it so much? To me, it smells a lot like Amouage Reflection Man 45 Extrait. And the reason why I like it so much is because I love Amouage Reflection Man 45 Extrait, and I also love the original Reflection Man Eau de Parfum. The problem with that one is the lack of performance. It isn't that strong of a scent, and it's not crazy expensive either, the original Reflection Man. It's a pretty reasonably priced niche product, but it still doesn't perform that good. Reflection 45 knocks it out of the park. They absolutely crushed it with that one. But it retails for $500, meaning when it hits discounters, it comes in for like $300, maybe a tad less. That's still expensive. This smells a lot like that. The white florals, the rich kind of woody, musky, patchouli notes going on in here. It smells beautiful. This is yet another very classy and high-level smelling release. And same with Amouage Reflection Man. That stuff just smells premium and expensive. It smells like you are dressed head to toe in a super expensive suit, and you're just ready to conquer whatever it is that you're going after. I mean, it's a really premium smell, and this one follows that blueprint to a T. So it would be a great everyday signature scent, especially if you work in an environment where you want to be really portrayed as a professional. Because some of these elixirs, like we've talked about, are really premium, but there are also a few others out there, and just other releases in general that are a bit more playful. That's not the case here. It's expensive, but it's worth it. And if you can get it below retail, it just makes even more sense. If Reflection 45 is out of your price range, because again, it's crazy expensive, this is going to be at least a little bit more affordable. This next one just might be one of the best releases that this brand and this line in particular has ever put out. No joke. This is incredible. Another situation where I wasn't expecting a ton out of this going into it. I had looked at the note breakdowns and I was excited to try it once I finally got my hands on it, but I wasn't expecting it to be this good. From Hugo Boss, it is Boss Bottled Elixir. What a phenomenal, impressive release. This one's got frankincense, patchouli, labdanum, and some cedarwood in here. Absolutely beautiful. Smoky, sweet, resinous. The patchouli really comes to life, and it gives it this vibrant, masculine, classy smell. Very, very expensive smelling. However, one of the most affordable elixirs in this video. You can get this one on discounters right now for $80, 100 ml. That's unheard of for an elixir. I don't know what the retail is off the top of my head, but again, $80 at discounters right now, you just can't beat that. And to me, this smells a lot more expensive than an $80 scent. Like, it really is premium, very classy. And honestly, I think this one can hang with the other big dogs in here as far as quality, uniqueness, richness, classiness. It really can hold its own, and it's going to be more of a budget elixir. So if you're kind of looking at some of these others and you're thinking, yeah, would be nice, but I just can't swing that, I don't want to spend that type of money, this is going to be something that will kind of get you into that league of just being a very premium smelling and performing and quality designer scent without having to spend a whole ton of money. Like I mentioned, guys, one of the best Boss bottled fragrances that they put out, and just could even be one of the best from the designer brand in general. This is really good. You got to try it if you're into resinous, woody, kind of smoky, sweet scents. Next up, we have Invictus Victory Elixir by Paco Rabanne, of course. This one is really good, and I love it. I haven't really said that about too many newer Invictus releases. I would say the last Invictus fragrance that I absolutely loved was Invictus Aqua. And at this point, that was a while ago. And I'm mostly talking about the 2016 version. That was just one of my favorites of all time. I really like the 2018 too, but not as much. So yeah, there's been a pretty big gap between me loving an Invictus release. And I'm not saying that the others were bad by any means along the way, because I don't really necessarily think any of them were bad, but none of them were all that amazing to me in terms of just making me go, wow, that smells great. Until Invictus Victory Elixir came along. Every time I smell this one, I like it and respect it more. And I think that's really cool, you know, the fact that it's been growing on me that much. I love the bottle too. The presentation is very slick. Love that gradient going on. But more importantly, the scent. It's got vanilla, incense, lavender. So another smoky sweet vanilla scent. And you know, vanilla being used all over the place in men's fragrances these days. It's just kind of becoming the new thing, these sweet vanilla tonka bean scents. So this is nothing new here. However, compared to a lot of the other Invictus releases and compared to some other Elixir releases, some other Les Parfums releases and so on, this one is really, really good. And it ultimately is going to be a mass-pleasing beast, where some of these others, like Guilty Elixir and even Sauvage Elixir, might be a little bit more specific in terms of who they appeal to. Victory Elixir is going to be one that you just really can't mess up or go wrong with. Pretty much everybody around you is going to like this one. You know, there's also from the same brand, 1 Million Elixir, which I like okay, but I think this one's better between the two from Paco Rabanne. Last up for this video, we have YSL Elixir. So this one kind of sparked some controversy when it first came out, just due to the fact that it wasn't as different as I think people were expecting it to be, and I was expecting it to be a bit more different as well. Because you see some like oud in here, and some patchouli and things like that, and of course the geranium and the amberwood and all that stuff that's kind of to be expected. The other notes maybe didn't come through as much as people were hoping for. I wish they would have come through a bit more too. However, to me, I look at this as even more of a refined YSL. As it's gone down the line, the Eau de Toilette, the Eau de Parfum, Les Parfums, Eau de Parfum Intense, and the Elixir. Of course, there's Live and Eau Fraiche in there as well, but I just think with these past couple releases, the Eau de Parfum Intense and the Elixir, they're a couple of their best works yet. I think in a lot of instances, a few of those others there are a bit too sweet. They're a bit too much. They're a bit too bubblegummy and strong for some people. I think as far as playing it safe and appealing to as many people as possible, both you, the person wearing it, and everybody around you, the Eau de Parfum Intense and the Elixir are a couple of the best yet. This is expensive, okay? That's kind of the trend here with these, but it has hit discounters and has been for a while. So where it retails for almost $200, it's kind of popping up in the mid 100s. I think I've seen it down to 140-ish, and I think I've even seen it a bit less than that sometimes. So it's getting more reasonable. You take a look at some of the others, Eau de Parfum Intense, Les Parfums, just all of those. You're looking anywhere from 100 to 110, maybe even 115. So it's getting closer. Price per mil is still off, but as far as just out of your pocket, what the damage is going to be on discounters, this one is working its way down pretty quickly. If you want a super refined YSL and you want one that is just going to perform great, and it's just going to be a great compliment puller. Definitely check this one out. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. Some of the best Elixir fragrances on the market, at least as of right now. If they put out a couple new ones tomorrow or in a couple weeks, or something, this video is already going to be out of date again, because those might end up being really good too. But out of what's on the market right now, these are, in my opinion, worth the money. There's a few missing. Again, that was the point. I think these are the ones that you should really focus your money into if you're interested. I'll link them all down below, and also if you want to be notified when new releases like these hit discounters or when rare and discontinued fragrances also come in stock, you can jump on my mailing list and texting list down below. We search all the discounters front to back every day, bringing you the best deals and the best prices that you can possibly find. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.